We have another guest coming into the neighborhood who's going to be playing our today-yesterday game against our regular panelists, the one, the only, and yes, and you even have your audio going. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you please welcome Steve the Whistler. See, I can't do it. Steve the Whistler Herbst. How are you, Steve? Uh-oh. You're still unmute.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Steve. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I
Nice
see
to see you again.
you. Nice to see. I think it's been. I didn't check, but it's got to be about 15 or 14 years since you were first on Dave's Gone By. We were on WGBB on Long Island. I'm back on Long Island. You're on. Where are you in Long Island?
I don't remember, but I've been living in Manhattan for much longer than that.
Oh, you're in New York. I didn't realize I didn't realize you were a New Yorker, a New York City kind of person. How has I read online anyway, the New York Post and all these papers saying that New York has just gone completely downhill under the current mayor and during the pandemic. As being someone who lives all day in New York, is it really that bad? Are they overstating the case, or is it really New York starting to suck?
I think it depends on where in New York.
Okay.
Where I live is pretty good, and I work from home. I've been working remotely for the past 16 months with my day job. So
And what do you do? I don't. Besides whistle, I mean, that's not your day job, but yeah.
I'm a psychotherapist.
Oh, I'll be careful to what I say to you then.
And
Well,
there's been a lot of demand in the last year and a half or so.
so you do Zoom therapy, or you get on and yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just got a message from somebody. They say, why are you on this show? But one of the reasons you're on this show, and you can't talk about it yet, that you are as an entertainer, as a whistly kind of person, because you are Steve the competitive whistler Herbst. You're going to be on some TV show. I know you can't say what. I know you can't say when. But can you give us a hint of what it kind of thing it is?
Well, I can tell you that it's a network show. It will be on ABC on Sunday night, sometime this summer.
Okay. Sometimes, and it's a one shot. It's not like you're
Yeah.
on Big Brother or something like that. But okay, cool. All
One,
right. So
one shot.
now, are you still whistling? Those things behind you, those are on the wall, framed. Those are your appearances in newspapers involving your competitive whistling activities. How have those been going in recent times?
Well, I retired from competition a number of years ago. I had won, just about everything you can in the whistling world. I was international grand champion. I was named to the Whistlers Hall of Fame with Bing Crosby, and
Where, time. Where is there like a room? Is there a museum? Where
the,
is the
the
Whistler's Hall of Fame?
the International Whistlers Museum and Hall of Fame are located in Lewisburg, North Carolina,
Okay.
on the Lewisburg College campus. And I had gone down to North Carolina 17 years in a row competing,
Yeah.
and except for the last time when I was the master of ceremonies, I was the MC for the 30th, uh, was it 30th or 40th International Whistlers Convention and competition, and that
Yes.
and that was the last one they had because the founder and organizer passed away, and no one picked up the mantle.
You didn't want
Uh,
to.
come again?
You didn't want to.
No, you'd need to be in North
No.
Carolina for that,
Okay.
and others have picked it up. There's a competition that'll be held in Ushiku or outside of Tokyo next year, and there's also a Masters of Whistling festival that's held in Pasadena on alternate years.
Will you go to these things even though you're not competing? Will you just go to
I
enjoy?
have I went to the one in Japan in 2008. I got to perform in Ushiku and Osaka, and took advantage of being halfway around the world to visit and stay with friends whom I hadn't seen in years. and did a 10-day tour of Japan. And I was out in Pasadena in 2017 for that festival.
This is so that's the wonderful thing because people might kind of get a laugh as competitive whistling, but really it's about getting together with other people with a cool, fun, harmless, likable musical hobby. And you get to go to Japan, right? You get to go to competitions and conventions and meet people. And yes, it's about whistling, but it's about so much more. Am I
Yeah,
getting that
well,
right?
when I was out in Hollywood a couple of weeks ago, taping that show that you alluded to, I got together with a friend of mine who's a whistler, and we had a nice brunch and wound up posting something on Facebook uh, to appeal to friends in the whistling world. It's funny. You mentioned people are really unaware of the world of whistling, and it's been my mission in life, for many years now, to get that people get that whistling is a legitimate art form, and that its time has returned. I had somebody come up to me recently when she heard what I was doing, and she said, "Whistling's a thing."
Well, people wouldn't necessarily, because they just think it's something like Andy Griffith would do when he went fishing, and that's about it.
Yeah,
But it can
you,
be,
you
it's
can
a
see
movement.
behind me that there are a bunch of trophies, and I was coming home to New York with the International Grand Championship trophy sticking out of the bag because I hadn't anticipated that I needed a bag big enough to, protect it. And she said, What's that?" I said, "It's," and I pulled that thing, and it says, International Grand Champion Whistler. She said, "Oh, let me hear the winning note."
Come on, that's a good line. And it's like Bob Bragi hitting a high C. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've had people say, "Well, did you win for holding the note the longest, or hitting the highest?" Or they don't get. I mean, competitive whistling is to win grand champion. You had to have the highest aggregate score in classical and popular musical genre. So, I whistle things like the Revenge aria that the Queen of the Night sings from Mozart's Magic Flute, every note in the key written by Mozart,
wow.
which is normally sung by a lyric coloratura soprano. So, and it's fun to see sopranos in the audience have their jaws drop,
That you're
when they hear
hitting
that,
those
because
very
they,
specific
they,
notes. Yeah,
they don't expect a guy to whistle that piece
right.
in the same key and every note as they do.
Yeah. And one of our proudest moments, and one of the great moments early on in this show, was that you came out and whistled along impromptu. You hadn't practiced or anything to a Led Zeppelin song. People can go on our archives at davesgoneby.com and hear that old interview with you. It's great to actually physically see you, Steve Herbst. By the way, it is Herb with a hard H, right? It's not Herbst. I
Yeah.
always get that wrong. It's Herbst.
Herbst is a German vocabulary word meaning autumn.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Herbst. Well,
When
Steve,
I was in Germany,
yeah.
uh, it was fun because they pronounce it Herbst. But
Well, yeah. Let me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to. Waiting in the wings to play the today yesterday game. I want to bring in our other. Oh, he went away. Don't go away. Oh, wait. Join. Oh, all right. I hit him. Did I get him? I got him. I thought I hit the wrong button. So, joining us for the game are the nostrils of. We need to tilt that camera down a little bit. David Sheward, the former president of the Drama Desk and current blogger, and there we go, and critic. Hello, David
Hello.
Sheward. How are
Hi.
you?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. David, joining us on this game is a man who was on this program about 15, maybe 16 years ago. His name is Steve Herbst, or as the Germans would say, Herbst. Right? Did I get that?
Herbst.
Herbst. Oh, they forget the R's. Herbst. He is, yes, he's a psychotherapist. He does that in his day job, but nobody cares about that. What we care about is that for many, many years he was a world champion competitive whistler.
Oh,
So, and when she was, I assume she's not alive. It'd be great if she was. But when people talked about your mom, was she ever called Whistler's mother? I have to ask.
I can tell you that I was interviewed by a lot of TV and radio shows, when I was competing, when I was fresh, newly crowned champion, and somebody said, "So how does it feel to be Whistler's mother?" That did come up in interviews, and the irony is that when I was a kid, I started practicing whistling as a serious musical instrument when I was 7 years old, but I never thought it would be of interest to anybody else. I'd whistle walking to school and whistle walking home, and I grew up in a very hilly area, so I'd be whistling going uphill, and that's how I built up lung power. And I'd go home and I'd go into my bedroom, close the bedroom door, put on a phonograph record, and practice mimicking all the musical instruments I heard. But I never thought it would be of interest to anybody else. My mother was really unaware that I had been doing this
So how did
until I became a more public figure.
when did you realize that somebody else, and more than somebody else, several people would be like, oh, there's competitions and there's a thing about this.
Well, let me back up a bit.
Oh, sure.
When I was in college, I went to the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and I was a member of the Penn Glee Club because I was also always a singer. I was always in the school chorus and the, president of my high school chorus and so forth. So I was a member of the Penn Glee Club for 4 years, and we used to do a couple of numbers that called for flute, but the director of the Glee Club used to whistle instead of having somebody play the flute. And one night he came up dry. He couldn't get it going. And I just went up to him and I said, I could do that for you. He said, it's all yours. That's when I started performing in public in those concerts. And the most outstanding example of that was we went to the main line, the Ritzy area outside of Philadelphia, to the Paley House, and performed a concert for Emperor Hirohito's son, Prince Mikasa, and his bride, the princess, who were visiting from Japan.
Mhm.
And we were doing this Japanese number, which called for a introduction to three haiku poems, an introduction with what normally would have been a Japanese recorder, a reed flute,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
hitting high E flat with a grace note. And I used to do that. And the payoff is that I got introduced to the prince and princess afterwards, which was pretty heady stuff for
Yeah.
an
And
18-year-old.
you know what they said? They said "Mikasa Sukasa," which was very nice of them. I thought. Very.
Now, what was what was the question you actually asked me?
I don't even. Oh, how did you? At a certain point you realized. And by the way, I should mention to David and you as well. We're waiting for our one other guest to play the game. She is trying to join as we speak. I've admitted her like 2 minutes ago, and her phone or her computer or something is happening. So in that period of time, which is great, we're getting to talk a bit more to Steve Herbst, who is telling us, like, when you realized, okay, so you went with the Glee Club, you did the concert, you were able to whistle in front of a crowd in a concert. But when
Oh,
did you
you were asking me
whistle with a thing?
when did I look into being competitive?
Yeah,
Okay.
and realize
So
that other people.
I used to watch the Tonight Show religiously, and every year the winner of the contest would be on the show, and the contest was held in April, or yeah, I think it was April, and they'd have the winner on in May or something like that, and I'd say, hey, geez, I ought to look into that, and I forget all about it. Well, I went to a high school reunion, and I ran into a friend of mine a classmate of mine, who had been the accompanist for the high school and junior high school chorus, and she was also a member of the band. So she was very musical. So I said, Come with me. I want you to hear what I've been doing since I saw you last." And I took her into a separate room, and I whistled parts of a Beethoven symphony. And that's how she knew I was a whistler, because nobody in school knew.
Right.
I never thought it was interesting. So she called me one day in February of, I guess it was, I don't know, back in the 90s. And she said, I just heard this guy on NPR, and he came in second in a whistling competition, or he won a whistling competition, and I think you could give him a run for his money. So I said, "Oh, really? Okay." Now it was February, so I called NPR, and they referred me to him. He referred me to Lewisburg. I put in my bona fides, and that's when I went down to compete for the first time.
What bona fides were you able to provide if you'd never competed before?
Uh, a sample, like a tape,
Oh, you're right, of course. Yes, yeah. Wow. Wow.
and I went down there thinking I was going to kill
And
because I had never run into anybody who whistled the way I whistled, and I came in fifth, which was a shock.
for a first time, well, it was great for a first time, but you thought, oh, well, who else does this? And then you
Yeah,
realized,
well, but it got me to realize I had to up my game. And one of the mistakes that I went down there that first time was I just whistled a cappella. The judges want to hear how you do with accompaniment, and I never had any accompaniment. I always whistled a cappella. So now I realize, oh, okay, I have to get some accompaniment. So I enlisted the assistance of my brother, who's a musical prodigy,
oh,
and his name is also David, by the way.
David Herbst, right?
No,
No?
no, David Lepedo, and he teaches jazz composition and improvisation at the new school now.
Wow.
But I mean, he started playing piano at 3, composing at 9, mastered 10 instruments by high school. Went to Cal Arts for graduate studies. I mean, he's
He couldn't whistle
well.
like you. Oh, he could do that too.
He was busy focusing his attention on other areas. But in any event, he created accompaniment for me, and he's actually responsible for all the accompaniment and production of my CD, Broadway and Beyond, which has 15 Broadway show tunes
Yep.
and Danny Boy.
Can people still get that? Can people go to your website, or can people get
SteveTheWhistler.com.
SteveTheWhistler.com to get the Broadway? Because I remember you handed that to me back when you were appearing on Dave's Gone By so many years ago.
But in any event, I went down there the next year. I think I came in fourth the next time. I came in second a few times, and I finally won in 2002.
And by the way, let me ask David Sheward.
Yes.
What awards have you were the head of the drama desk that gave
Yes.
a million awards over the years. What awards have you won in your? Have you? I hope that's
What
not-
awards have I won?
Yeah, aside from winning almost every week on the Today Yesterday quiz.
Well, let me see. When I was in high school, I won an award for intellectual curiosity.
Yeah.
Let me see what else.
We're going to be texting Leslie because she's just disappeared. So please.
I was given a special drama desk award when I stepped down as president
Oh, that's nice.
for my services, and I have it. And what else? What other awards have I won? I think that's it. You got an award in high school, and
The glittering prizes, as
Yeah.
Frederick Raphael TV play called them, the glittering
Yes.
prizes. But they're nice to have.
uh-huh.
You're a champion in our books, pretty much.
Thank you.
That's what you're up against, Steve. I don't think Leslie disappeared, so she always has video trouble and phone trouble trying to join us. The good news about Leslie, I won't say exactly what she hasn't told me. Well, she told me, but I'm not. We don't tell other people. She was going through some health stuff, but she got some very good news from her doctor this week. So I'm assuming all things are good, and it's just her computer that's futzing out on us. But we're going to start the game soon. So let me give the instructions. Because Steve, I don't suppose you've ever watched the show or since you've been on it or seen us play the Today Yesterday game, have you?
I have to admit, no.
No. Well, okay. Thanks for your honesty. So here's how the game works. We have 10 questions. They're historical trivia questions. And the interesting, or the hook, is that every single one of these questions is based on an event that happened today, June 12th, in history. Could have been 500 years ago, could have been 30 years ago, but on June 12th, blah, blah, blah. And the question is sometimes very tangentially based on that. So one of the things that I'm just going to make like we have only 2 people. So I will ask you, Steve, since you are our guest, to pick a number between 1 and 6, and yes, you can tell me what it is.
5.
Okay, Steve goes with a 5, and actually I'll put you for an H. And what about you, David Sheward?
I'll go with 4.
Sheward goes with 4. What I'm gonna do right now is unbeseen by you. That's probably not the right word, but I have a digital die rolling thing with a die, a dice thing for 1 to 6, a single die. I'm going to roll the die, and it comes up instantly with a 6, which is closer to you because you chose 5, Steve the Whistler. So you get to decide: do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
You said second? Okay, so Steve Herbst goes second. David, by default, you go first.
Okay.
So I'm just not going to wait for Lesiie to come back on. Let's start the game, and it's really as simple as that. So Steve, every question is worth 2 points if you get it right. There's no penalty for getting it wrong, but David can steal the question if you get it wrong, and he'll get the 2 points, and vice versa. And it basically goes like that. There's 10 questions total. Usually it's 3 apiece with a tiebreaker, but since we've only got 2, we'll just see how it goes. So are you guys ready?
Yes.
Ready as you'll ever be. So the first question will go to David Sheward. The year 1683. Foiled today in England was the Rye House plot, a plan to assassinate Charles II and his brother. To commemorate this non-event, which of these is not true about the grain rye? A, yes, I told you they go tangential, don't they? A, and this is a multiple choice, Canadian whiskey is called rye whiskey because it must be at least 51% rye grain. B, per annum, Canada, Turkey, and Denmark each produce more rye than the United States. C, ergot, a fungus that grows on rye, can get you high. Or D, J.D. Salinger once read the entire manuscript of Catcher in the Rye out loud to the editor of The New Yorker.
So which of these is not true?
Which of these is not true?
Okay. Well, it's entirely possible that J.D. Salinger did that. He was a bit of a kook. Let's see. It sounds right that Canadian rye has to be 51% whatever. And so it's Canadian rye has to be 51% rye. Is that it?
No, that's A. B is per annum, Canada, Turkey, and Denmark each produce more rye than the United States. Or C, ergot, a fungus that grows on rye, can get you high. Or D, J.D. Salinger.
Those all sound like they could be true. What the hell is ergot? I'll bet ergot is really something else, and you switch the letters around. I'll say C, ergot, can get you high. But that is not true.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. It's one of those questions.
Well, you didn't remember, I guess you ergot, because that is not the correct answer.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you very much. But no, that happened to be true. As a matter of fact, ergot it's like LSD, and you can die from it, but it also can really get high.
Let me also just point out that there was an episode of Mr. Peabody where they visited Whistler, and they tried to get his mother to pose, but she didn't want to. she was in this Peabody version of history. Whistler's mother enjoyed playing cowboys and Indians, and she wouldn't sit still.
So a tribute to you, Steve Herbst. The Whistler.
So they had to I guess they gave her some ergot or something, and they tranquilized her, and Whistler was able to paint the portrait.
Something like, they doped her in a children's cartoon. They actually dosed her with LSD, so she just sit there like looking at the stars. But Steve, you get to steal this question now. So you know it's not ergot.
I choose B.
You choose B, that the untrue thing is that per annum Canada, Turkey, and Denmark each produce more rye than the United States. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid that it's... I can't think of any jokes. Damn it. Hold on.
You're a turkey? Or...
something rye-ish or something...
turkey and rye.
Yeah, right.
Do
Because
you
it's
have a wry sense of humor?
yeah. That was too. I should have gone there. Yeah. Well, my wry sense of humor says that unfortunately both of you got that question wrong. What was not true is that Canadian whiskey is called rye whiskey. That whole thing is Canadian whiskey and rye are often interchangeable terms. Most Canadian whiskey has only a very small portion of rye in it, as opposed to what we genuinely call rye whiskey. A lot of countries make more rye than the United States, including Germany and Poland, and there's like 20 other countries that make more than we do. And yes, J.D. Salinger had a short story turned down by the New Yorker before he wrote Catcher in the Rye. And then he literally drove up to the house of the New Yorker editor and sat down and read him Catcher in the Rye before it got published. So we have a tie game. Nobody's got any points yet. We move forward in the game. And now, Steve Herbst, this next question goes directly to you for 2 points. It's a, excuse me, a multiple choice. The year was 1787. The United States passed a law that you had to be at least 30 years old to be a senator, and that has stayed the case through today. What is the minimum age to be a congressman? Is it A, 18, B, 21, C, 25, D, 30?
I'd say A.
You have to be 18 to be a
Yeah.
congressman. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, you're not a teenager in love. I'm afraid that is not the correct answer. So, David Sheward, you get to steal.
Okay.
So they set the age for senators today to be 30.
Mm-hmm.
How old currently do you have to be a congressman? Is it 21, 25, or 30?
Well, it's not 30 because there are some congresspeople, I think, under 30, like my congressperson, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the very famous person, and that kid in the wheelchair, I forget his name. He's this Trump nut who's in a wheelchair. I forget his name. He's pretty young.
Okay.
But I'll say I forget where he's from, but he's a real. He said it was okay for people to harass. Well, never mind. I'll say 25.
Is that your
Yes.
final answer?
Yes.
In the year 2525, David Sheward, you're more than alive. You have 2 points because that was the correct answer. Well done, David Sheward. It is 25 minimum to be a congressman. All right. Well, we have a 2-0 game so far, but David, you are, but Steve, you are, still way in it. It's still way early. Although David, you get the next question directly, so you can build on your lead. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's yet another multiple choice. The year was 1849, and on this date, June 12th, Lewis P. Hazlitt of Kentucky takes out a patent on his invention, a forerunner to the modern gas mask. In honor of gas, which of these is not true about farts?
Oh dear.
Now,
that way. Okay. Go
now
ahead.
here's the deal. What I can do, I'm going to throw this at you. Leslie is trying to be admitted again.
Okay.
So if I let her in, can I give her this question?
Okay, sure.
If she comes in, and then we can make her part of the game.
Greet her with the fart question.
No, absolutely. I always do.
That congressman is named Madison Cawthorn, and he's from North Carolina.
So Leslie Hoban, Blake, welcome. How are you? Unmute yourself. Unmute.
I know.
There we go.
Okay.
Yay, well done. And tilt, and back and shuffle, step, and tilt.
Fosse, yes, I know. There's a thing in my face here. I can't see us.
That's what
Okay,
she
there we go.
said.
Now
Okay.
it's in front of David.
That's a rather.
Hello. I tried every link. I went back to, this is the September 26th, 2020 link that
Okay,
worked.
whatever.
Just so you know.
Welcome, Leslie. We're in the middle of the game. I want to introduce, first of all, David Sheward. And then that other wonderful fellow over there is Steve Herbst, a former professional, competitive whistler. And he has many awards, including International Championship Whistling Award. He's also a psychotherapist, so if you need any help after the show.
Well, of course, that follows naturally. I won't try to play. I'll just watch.
Are you sure? Because we literally walked in at the moment I was giving David the third question.
Yeah.
So you can actually play.
So he's already 3 questions ahead, right? He's got three wins, right?
Actually,
No? What?
David is ahead 2 points to nothing, but the third question can go to you. But I need you first of all.
Sure, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Pick a number between 1 and 6, please.
6.
You can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Lesiie has 6. Okay, so just so you know, Lesiie, you ready for a joke? And this joke is especially for you. Not a joke.
Okay. I'm afraid that's what that's going to be.
The year was 1849. On this day, June 12th, Lewis B. Hazlitt of Kentucky takes out a patent on his invention, a forerunner to the modern gas mask. In honor of gas, which of these is not true about farts? Is it A, the world's oldest joke is a fart joke? B, President Gerald Ford would often fart and blame it on his Secret Service agents? C, a German man was fined 900 euros for farting at police officers? Or D, the classic poem, Beans, Beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot, is scientifically incorrect. Beans are actually far less gassy than most fruits and vegetables. Which of these is...
I have to go with the first joke ever was a fart joke. It has to be. It just has to be that one.
It was which is true?
Wait, which of these is not true?
Oh,
not true. I'm so sorry. Okay, not true. Okay, Beans, the fart joke, I don't remember the other 2.
President Ford farting and blaming it on Secret Service, or a German man being fined 900 euros for farting at cops.
What is not true?
Right.
Oh, Lord, you put me in such a spot.
It's probably 800 euros.
Right. David would do that.
I wouldn't do quite that kind of thing.
You would. 750. You would do that. Of course you would.
It really stinks, doesn't it? You know, just saying.
Excellent.
Just kind of
excellent.
The air. Yeah.
All right. Let's say Gerald Ford
is not true.
Not true.
Well, you should be driving a Cadillac, not a Ford, because, Lesiie, that is not the correct answer. Ford would actually do that. I guess that was his sense of humor. So we're going to roll the die. It's actually my sense of humor, too, of course.
That was the living end, wasn't it?
Oh, wrecked him. I nearly killed him. So here we go. I don't even know what that means. Let's roll the die. The die comes up number 5, which goes directly to Steve the Whistler Herbst. So, Steve, you get to steal this question if you get it right. So among the other choices, you've got world's oldest joke is a fart joke, German man fined 900 euros for farting at cops, or Beans, Beans, the poem, is actually not really true compared to other fruits and vegetables.
I'm going to choose A.
A is not true. The world's oldest joke is a fart joke. Is that your final answer?
Yes, that is my whole answer.
Thank you for not forcing me to make a joke here, but unfortunately that is not correct either. The world's oldest joke was actually a fart joke. I'll tell it after David Sheward.
I assumed as much.
Adam told it to Eve.
What do you think that?
Didn't think Eve was capable of telling it to Adam?
Yeah, well, the apple was.
Oh, I see.
The apple was the
medium. The apple was the medium. Yes.
So the 2 left are. What are the 2 left?
The 2 left are Jerry Ford. Oh no, sorry. Joe Ford is not left. There's hold it.
Euros for
the German man who was
fined
900 euros for farting at police officers, or Beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot, is not comparatively true to other fruits and vegetables.
So it's either the guy was not fined or it never happened, or beans are gassy.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's either the beans are gassy or the guy was fined a different amount or it never happened or he's from Switzerland instead of Germany. Oh God.
You're
50,
taking all the fun out of the game, David.
I'm gonna say, let's say the one about, no, I'll say beans, the magical fruit.
Is
It's
that
not-
your final
Yes.
answer?
Yes, that it really does make you do that. Okay.
Well, where have you been all my life, David Sheward? You got it correct. Well
Ah.
done. You have 4 points on the board. Beans are, even though apples and other things can be pretty gassy, beans are quite
Okay.
gassy indeed. And by the way,
Well, thank God we don't have to take Blazing Saddles off the list of best
Yeah.
films.
As historically inaccurate,
Right. We'd have
now get ready to laugh. Get ready to laugh so hysterically because the oldest joke in the world goes back to 1900 BC. The oldest joke that we know of goes back to 1900 BC in Sumeria, which was ancient Iraq. Something which has never occurred since time immemorial. A young woman did not fart on her husband's lap. I love those double negative jokes. They're just hilarious, aren't they?
So the
Is there
ancient,
a hieroglyph that shows this?
Yeah,
in
that's
some
how they
way?
found it. It's
the ancient
written.
Egyptians didn't have any humor, huh?
This was their humor. This was it, folks.
Just ask them. Just ask them.
Oh. No, I think they're busy with a pyramid scheme. But all right, hold on. Let's stop this now. Let us get on to round 2 with David Sheward leading 4 points to Steve and Leslie, but anything can happen in round 2. So are you guys ready?
Oh, so this would have been the question that Leslie would have had anyway if she had come in on time, since there are only 3 questions.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing, had Leslie been here on time, she could have chosen to go first, second, or third. So it could have been anybody's.
That never happens. That never happens.
It was, so we don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, no, we're going back to round 3, three questions each.
All right.
So
I want to pull a Dr. Sue, and only you and I will know what that means, David. Let's do it. I want a half a point from last week for knowing Sam the Sham, even though I did not know the Pharaohs. Back me up on this, Joyce.
Oh dear.
The clue is Wooly Bully, Sam the Sham, and I could not.
Leslie, the only thing we could do is give you a. Oh no, it was half a point because you got 1 point for Wooly Bully, and
Right.
could you have gotten 1/2 point for Sam?
I want my 1/2 a point. It's kept me up all week, David. Just so
Oh
you know.
dear.
I will apply it to last week's score.
Oh, that's no help. Never
No, I'm not applying
mind.
this week's score. It doesn't work.
Never
like
mind. Forget it.
If you applied it to the last
I
question, it could
really
have been.
was elected
Yeah.
president. I don't care what anybody says.
If you
Okay,
if
go
you
ahead.
applied it to the last question, it could have been half-assed.
Oh,
Oh, that's good.
he's
Where
so
you
cheap.
been all my life,
That's a good
Steve?
one.
Thank you. We're on the bum here, ladies and gentlemen. Doing
Oh.
today, yesterday quiz on Dave's Gone By. The next sequence of questions begins with David Sheward. So, David, you can pile on to the points here.
Okay.
If you get this question right, it is not a multiple choice. The year
How many points do we have so far?
you have 4.
Okay.
4. Okay.
All right.
1901 was the year, setting the stage for the U.S.'s. A history teacher would get this question.
All right. Go ahead.
Setting the stage for the U.S.'s long, turbulent history with Cuba. On this date, Cuba was forced to amend its constitution to include 7 demands of this congressional act, which both secures Cuba's independence, but also made it strongly dominated by Uncle Sam. Name that act.
In 1901, there was some act that gave Cuba its independence, but also it's dependent on the U.S.
Right.
The Ricky Ricardo Act.
Is that your final?
Oh no.
Ah.
Let's see.
Babaloo.
Yeah, the Babaloo Act or the Babalooey Act. Quick straw, come in.
Don't make draw. Yes.
Oh dear. Oh God, I don't know. The Cuba Libre Act.
I'll drink to that. Is that your
I'll drink to
final?
that too. Yes. Right.
No, I'll just say the Cuban Independence Act. That's what I'll say.
Well, Cuba is not libre for you in this question, David Sheward. I'm afraid that is not the correct answer. We're going to give somebody a chance to steal. I'm going to roll the die, which comes up. We're back to 6 again. So, Leslie, you have a chance to get 2 points if you know the answer to this.
Sure, and if I had wings, I could fly. I have no idea. I can't even hazard a guess. Baba Louie was as close as I could come. I have no idea.
No idea? Okay.
I mean, I will say that it's probably not just for Cuba, but they probably extended some sort of thing that went for all sorts of Caribbean islands. So that is in the Caribbean, right? Cuba.
Is it?
Am I wrong about that too?
I don't know any about geography or any.
I don't know any of it either.
Well,
I'm just trying to show off because I'm trying to dance around the fact that I have no answer whatsoever. None.
So,
I'm not even a guess.
So, Steve?
I have to ask you to repeat the question.
Yes, I see you're checking your messages. So here's the thing. The question is setting the stage for the U.S.'s long turbulent history with Cuba. On this day, Cuba was forced to amend its constitution to include 7 demands of this congressional act, which both secured Cuba's independence, but also made it strongly dominated by Uncle Sam. Name that act that was introduced.
I have no idea.
Welcome to our club.
No. Okay. Want to take a guess or any kind or? No.
I really have no idea.
Well, I guess that joke, it didn't fall flat, but that question didn't fall flat, it fell plat. It was the Platt Amendment. Anybody remember? We spent like a day on that in social studies in high school. It was like this. No,
what a waste of a day.
Well, I don't remember us. I don't think I've ever taught that.
Oh, okay.
You better put it in your curriculum right now, David.
Nobody.
You better go into your curriculum.
I don't usually teach social studies. So.
History of the Civil War, right?
Wait, what do you teach?
I teach English and special education, and sometimes I help out with social studies.
Oh, I thought you were a history and social.
I thought you were a history and social studies teacher too.
I have taught that, but when you're a special education teacher, you're supposed to know everything and do everything.
Right. How to secure your
Oh,
helmet.
they got the right guy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, David, you are still leading in the game, 4 points to nothing. So, but it's still anybody's game, and the next question will go directly to Steve Herbst. So again, everything in this quiz is stuff that happened on this date, June 12th. Not that actually matters to answering the question, but it's just the context. This is a multiple choice. The year was 1913. Released today is the short film The Artist's Dream, the first major work of important animator John Randolph Bray. It's all about an artist who draws a dachshund that comes to life and eats a big sausage. Which of these is not true about dachshunds? A, the first dog ever cloned in England was a dachshund. B, hot dogs were nicknamed after dachshunds and not the other way around. C, owing to World War I anti-German sentiment, the American Kennel Club voted to eliminate dachshunds as an official breed, and the dogs weren't reinstated until 1926. Or D, the very first Olympic mascot was a dachshund. Which of these is not true about doxies?
Wow. It's kind of stretching a point, I think, but...
dog stretch.
Okay, I'm going to go D.
We're going to go with D, that the very first Olympic mascot you're saying it was not a dachshund. That is not true.
Wait. The idea is what was not true.
Right. So,
and you're saying that was not a dachshund.
I'm confusing the issue. I'm saying that one of the choices is the very first Olympic mascot was a dachshund, and you're saying that that is not true.
Right.
Okay. Final answer.
Yep.
I'm afraid we have to send you down to the docks because that is not the correct answer. That actually was true. So we're going to roll the die. Oh, I'm getting all of you today. This is so cool. We have a number 2, which is kind of disgusting, but it's closest to David Sheward's number, which was 4. So David Sheward, you want to try and steal this question?
Okay. So which of these is not true about dachshunds?
Right.
Read them again.
A, the first dog ever cloned in England was a dachshund. B, hot dogs were nicknamed after dachshunds and not the other way around. Or C, owing to World War I anti-German sentiment, the American Kennel Club voted to eliminate dachshunds as an official breed, and the dogs weren't instated until 1926.
Did you say the first dog that was cloned was a dachshund? What was that? What did you say?
Yeah, the first dog ever cloned in England was a dachshund.
Okay, and
which may or may not be true. And
was
may or may not.
hot dogs are named after dachshund and not the other way around?
Right.
So in other words, wait, hot dogs were named after dachshunds.
Not dachshund cars, dachshunds, so the doggies, yeah.
So that would mean that if that were not true, that hot dogs were named for dachshunds?
Wait. I'll read it again. We're a little punchy here in the summer.
Try to be frank.
Okay.
Well, you have some skin in this game. Here we go. The choices are A, which of these is not true? The choices are the first dog ever cloned in England was a dachshund.
Okay.
B, hot dogs were nicknamed after dachshunds and not the other way around.
Okay.
C, owing to anti-German sentiment in World War I, the AKC voted to eliminate dachshunds as a breed and didn't reinstate them until 1926.
I'll say B, about the dog.
B, the hot dog thing.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, he stole my Frank joke. All right, I gotta think. Hold on, I've got to think of something. Hold on. Well, I'm not going to make a weenie joke. No, let's just say no, David Sheward, that was not the correct answer either. So, Lesiie, Hoban, Blake, you can get 2 points if you steal this question.
I have no idea what's left anymore. Oh, dachshunds were not a breed. Wait, I thought you were going to say that the Kennel Club shot all the dachshunds or something.
Good Lord.
No, so they're not a breed. And what was the other one?
The first dog ever cloned in England was a dachshund. True or not true?
That makes no sense at all. Dachshunds are not popular in England, as I recall. I lived there. I don't remember ever seeing a dachshund. Corgis you see all over the place, but dachshunds are big dogs you see. I'm going to say that the AKC did not take them out of it, did not disclaim them as a breed.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, number 4. What the hell? Shoot the works. True daily double.
Well, Lesiie, Hoban, Blake, we can see your fine breeding because that is the correct answer. It was not true. They never took them out. They were very, very unpopular, the dogs were, during World War I. And as a matter of fact, this swear to God, remember like 10 years or just after 9/11 when they tried to take French fries and rename them like Freedom Fries?
Freedom Fries.
In World War I, the AKC tried to have a campaign of renaming dachshunds Liberty Pups and Badger Dogs, so they wouldn't have a German name and people would
right. Wow.
So yeah,
they succeeded with Liberty Cabbage. Sauerkraut became Liberty Cabbage.
Did it really? Wow.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so there you go. And just so you know, Waldi, speaking of German things, in the 1972 Munich Olympics, when they weren't busy, killing Jewish athletes, Waldi the dachshund was chosen as the first mascot ever for the Olympics.
Oh.
True story. And Minnie the dog had a little dog. Winnie the dog was cloned in a test.
Was cloned, really?
Her sperm or whatever they make, the ovaries, and to create Mini Winnie.
Mini Winnie.
And this was back in 2014. They're now grandchildren. So, and I think they're all still alive, which is fantastic. So
because clones are essentially sterile or something.
Are they?
I don't know. There was a question mark. I don't know.
No, I think the clone dog can have.
It can. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So Mazel, that's such a happy question. Like the first clone dog in England Well, I assume they clone dogs in other countries, but in England it was Winnie who had Mini Winnie. Oh, I guess that makes me happier than everybody else. All right.
Probably also had some poo.
Uh,
Okay.
The way you brought it back to the original question today, I mean, the circularity of it all is wonderful. It's truly
What I love
wonderful.
about the show, it
when
really
they
is.
go for walkies, do they say Winnie make a poo?
Oh, win with Winnie. Here we go. We have a 4-2 game, by the way. David Sheward with 4 points. Lesiie Hoban with 2 points. But Steve, you can still, of course, get on the board. We're up to our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our 6th question goes to Lesiie.
Take no pride of ownership in that answer, just so you know. I take no pride of ownership. It does not require any of my brain cells to be involved in that answer. It just
Well,
is.
this one may not either. This is a multiple choice. Lesiie, directly to you, Lesiie.
This is my question?
This is your question.
Okay.
Here we go. The year was 1931. June 12th was a bad day for Al Capone. Not only had he already been charged with income tax evasion, but Eliot Ness and the Untouchable nabbed him for violating the prohibition laws of the Volstead Act. In fact, he violated it a lot of times. To the nearest 1,000, how many Volstead indictments did Al Capone get? A, 3,000, B, 4,000, C, 5,000, D, 8,000.
Three, 5, 6, 8. Are those my
4,
choices?
5, 8. 3, 4, 5.
4. One more time.
Sure. 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, or
1,000 or 8.
8,000
Okay.
indictments against
Yeah,
Al
we leave
Capone.
out 6 and 7. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 8. It does seem sort of de trop, as the French would say, to go up to 8 on something like this. Like 1 or 10 would get you there just as easily. So I'm going to say 3,000.
Is that your final answer?
I'm sure. What the hell?
Well, you said 3, but I'm afraid you did not hit the trifecta on this one, Lesiie Hoban Blake. We have a steal opportunity for our 2 other guests playing the today-yesterday game. Our die came up as the number 5, which means it goes directly to Steve the Whistler Herbst. Steve, you can get on the board if you know or can guess whether the how many indictments went against Al Capone on this date. Was it 4,000, 5,000, 8,000?
All right, I'm going to say 8,000.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Must have been something you ate. That is not the correct answer, I'm afraid, Steve. David Sheward. And by the way, how late were you up last night? You've been yawning nonstop since we started the game.
It's just a lazy day. What can I tell you?
Okay.
Not too late, but I did have.
If I'm boring you,
I had 2 glasses of wine with dinner, so.
That's it.
Uh,
I'm scooping down the Benadryl for
and the
allergies.
school year is almost over, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So it's either 3 or 4, huh?
No, it's either 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Huh. 5.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
5, 5, 5, 5. Let's sing a song of 5. How many is 5? The correct answer. Well done, David Sheward. Well done. Yeah, this is why he just sort of sneaks in and he gets all these points. It was 5,000 counts against Al Capone, when those indictments came in. So good job, man. Did anybody, by the way, recognize that from Sesame Street? Anybody? That song? No.
No. What is it? I bet there are 4 other ones just like it.
No, 10. They would get up to like 8 and stuff. They
Right,
1, 2, 3,
right.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, and sing that song. All right. Anyway, we go on to our 3rd and final round of the Yesterday quiz live on this Saturday, June 12th, 2021. You're watching the delightful 802nd episode of Dave's Gone By. We're calling it Topical Rash in honor of our delightful guest Rochelle Ellie, who was in the neighborhood before, talking with Rabbi Saul. But right now we are here playing the Yesterday game quiz against Steve the Whistler Herbst, against David Sheward, and against Lesiie, Hoban, Blake. Third round, and it's a good game right here because we have 6 points to David, 2 points to Lesiie. And Steve, you're not yet on the board, but don't feel bad yet because, as we always say, it's a tough game. And a lot of it is guesswork, and a lot of times the first time people come and play it, they get no points.
I'm taking comfort in the fact that this is my premier participation,
and you can't wait to come back, Steve. I can tell.
And I realize that I'm misinterpreting some of the questions. Like what's not true.
Right. You have to.
And having to,
Because I'm glad
Are you rethinking? I don't know how long you've been a friend of Dave's, but are you rethinking your friendship as well at this?
It was rethought in the sense that it was renewed. I mean.
I see. Okay.
It's been a very long time. You missed the introduction, Lesiie.
I did. I'm sorry.
It was on the program.
I'll watch it later.
Sorry?
I said I'll watch it later. I didn't mean to interrupt you yet again.
No, that's fine. But Lesiie, Steve was literally on this program when we were a terrestrial radio show on Long Island's WGBB.
Before Colorado.
Long before Colorado.
Oh my God! So do you count that in the 802? Is that counted in? Is it every single program you've ever done, or is it only this particular? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. We said that was 1 previous episodes of the show. So
of this particular show, which I thought originated in Colorado. You're telling me now it originated out in Long Island before you ever went to Colorado.
We went on the air October 6th, 2002 at 11 o'clock at night on WGBB AM 1240, which still exists, albeit mostly in Chinese and gospel right now, but it's still out there. And I was doing this show 1 hour long. I think it was Sunday nights, and then did 90 minutes and moved around the station a bit and stayed there for years. Until
Dave interviewed me in 2002 because that was the year I became the international grand champion whistler.
Oh, and how often have you had to defend your titles then?
Well, I retired from competitive whistling a few years after that.
Okay.
No, really. Listen, were you thinking of becoming a competitive whistler at one point?
Me? Oh, of course. Doesn't everyone?
Can you whistle? Some people can't do it. I have to close this nostril to sound good.
Yeah. I can do it, but you can't hear it. My son is one of those people who can do this and hail a cab 4 blocks away. I don't know where he got that skill from. Certainly not from me.
Steve, can you do the finger
whistling is one of the different techniques that whistlers can use, and that's a very practical one. I can't do that.
For hailing
yeah.
There's pucker style, there's tongue and palate, throat whistling, and finger whistling, and then those are techniques really.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you show us some throat whistling? How do you?
I can't do it, but I know a fellow who opens his mouth and somehow produces whistling noise. He looks like a baby bird looking to be fed.
Is that like those Korean throat singers? Is that something similar to that?
It could be. I'm not familiar with them, but most competitive whistlers use pucker style. And in fact, the feature-length documentary film that I inspired, narrate, and am featured in is called Pucker Up, The Fine Art of Whistling, which was winning awards all over the world, and then was on Netflix for a number of years, and is now available for free viewing on YouTube.
Oh,
Pucker Up, The Fine Art of Whistling. That gives you a very good insight into the whole world of competitive whistling.
Whoa! So everybody pucker up. All you have to do is go to YouTube and find it. It's called Pucker Up.
All you have to do is search for that.
Steve, just to note, my grandfather was a vaudevillian, and they had a song and dance act. And one of the things that was so popular, because I know Al Jolson did it later, was to whistle an entire chorus of a song, not to sing it at all, but to. He did it. I saw that done on film in Tootsie. That was the song. But my grandfather could do it until he was in his. Well, he died at 80, so until he was in his 70s anyway, he could still whistle a song. I mean, he wasn't just whistling idly.
Well, that's what I do. I whistle whole songs.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And to
See,
become grand champion,
But
you
he
have
wasn't,
to.
my grandfather wasn't competitive. He was just
Yeah,
earning a living, you know.
I understand. But to to be competitive, to be in competition, grand champion, you have to have the highest aggregate score of classical and popular genres.
Good Lord.
So if like I know people that they only do one but not the other, and they could
Right.
be the popular champion but not grand champion.
Gotcha.
no, I tried to compete as a whistler, and they told me to do a song. I thought I'd be great. I blew it. But anyway, that's
Oh,
Blue, we got it.
oh, my operation.
uh,
we're back to the game.
You were
The today,
providing lip service.
the game is the today yesterday quiz that we'd love to go far afield with, but we do have a couple more questions with David Sheward leading 6-2. And this first question of our last round does go to David, so it's going to be a fairly insurmountable lead if he gets this right. David,
People will think this is a rerun. David is leading
Hmm.
6-2. Oh my.
I know. Are you ready, David?
Yes.
The year it's not a multiple choice. The year was 1933.
Okay.
In opposition to FDR and what he perceived as the weakness of the New Deal and its unfair distribution of wealth, this Democrat gave the second longest filibuster in history, 15 and a half hours. And that same year, he published his rambling autobiography, Every Man a King.
Oh.
Name that man.
Oh, I should know this because, Huey Long. I'll say Huey Long.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, you certainly made short work of that question. It was indeed Huey P. Long. What gave it away? What made you
The title of the book, Every
Title
Man.
of the book, of course.
Okay, all right. I know it from a Randy Newman song about Huey Long, but I didn't know it from any other.
And I believe he was the basis of
All the King's Men.
All the
Yeah.
King's Men.
Right.
And I just and I think a son of his, he had a son who was also a senator that Walter Matthau played in the film JFK, and I just remember the name Long came to mind.
And it was done twice. So not only did Roderick Crawford, was it, play him the first
Roderick
time?
Crawford did it in 1940.
But then Sean Penn played him in the second film.
Yeah.
So, that nobody saw. I think I watched 10 minutes of it, and that was as much as I could handle. But yeah.
Well done, David Sheward.
Well done.
Try and keep it random as to, from the very beginning, who gets what question, because you never know who's going to get the history question or the culture or how long ago. But yeah, David Sheward, oh my goodness, we're talking about 8 points for you right now. I think, let's see, Leslie, you can still kind of tie, depending on how things go. You have to.
Why, you giving double points on the last question? How can I tie? I've got 2 points.
So
is this crypto math? What is that? I don't understand.
It's new math. So our next
math
goes directly to Steve the Whistler, so you can get some points on the board yourself here.
Yeah, come on, Steve. Come on. You can do it.
The year was it's a happy question. The year was 1963. Now, speaking of people who were assassinated, on this date, Byron de la Beckwith, a Klansman raised in Mississippi, murdered this anti-segregationist and civil rights activist. Who?
I'm going to guess Malcolm X.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid X does not mark the spot for you, Steve, on this question. I'm going to have to roll a die, and it comes up. Oh, it comes up a number 2. How many weeks am I just going to make a number 2 joke? But it comes up number 2, which puts it closest to David Sheward. So, David,
yes.
The question again. The year was 1963. Speaking of, because Huey Long was assassinated. Speaking of assassinations, on this date, Byron de la Beckwith, a Klansman raised in Mississippi, murdered this anti-segregationist and civil rights activist. Who?
Well, it wasn't Martin Luther King, because that was not until 1968 or 69. Because we were watching Bewitched that night, and they interrupted it.
Wow.
That Martin Luther King was assassinated.
And the other Darren ended up playing him, so there.
That's the reference point. Oh,
Well,
God.
with the Thursday night, we were watching Bewitched.
No, you were a kid. I understand.
And
It's okay.
Howard K. Smith came on interrupted because it was on ABC. I think it was Medgar Evers.
Is that your final answer, though? Well, don't just remember this today. Remember this forever's. David Sheward running away with the game here. It was Medgar. Did you know that one, Liz? Oh, you
Yes.
know it. Luck of the draw. So, yeah, David Sheward with 10 points in the today-yesterday game. Rocking it. But Lesiie, well, we still have a couple of questions left. So Lesiie will give this question to you.
I feel like he's patting my head and saying I'm still a good girl. It's okay, David. I understand the way this works. Go ahead.
It's basically David Sheward's game, his world. We're just.
It's his world. We just get to live in it. I know.
Yeah,
Actually, he's renting.
I
don't know about you. He's renting space to me. I mean, it's we have
In
a
my
tacit agreement here.
I had no idea what was going to be going on. I sent Dave a text. What's the agenda? 'Cause I thought I was going to be whistling something.
Well, before this ends, yeah. But I told you you'd be part of the quiz. I told you didn't I? I should have mentioned you were playing.
I had no idea I had no idea I had to bone up on trivia.
There's no way. There's no way to do it because this man's brain works in some spiral, inside-out, convoluted way.
A lot of it was guessing.
And apropos, I probably would have done a lot better before contracting CRS.
Okay.
Is that a joke? I
give up.
What that is.
I give up.
Can't remember.
Oh. That's an old guy joke. There you go. Can't remember shit joke. Yeah, there we go. Never. I believe I'm getting there.
It's the precursor to craft.
Can't remember.
Oh,
yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
By the way, we can say the word. We're not on terrestrial radio.
I was going to say that, but David, what are you doing? I'm getting seasick. What are you doing?
Stretching. I'm just stretching.
Oh, okay. All right.
Been sitting here for an hour.
As long as you're not having a stroke or something, I mean, it's like all over the place.
And at least he is wearing pants. We did see that momentarily.
Yes, I am wearing pants.
Yes, they're very nice.
I take the fifth on this one. I'm not going near that question. Go ahead.
There we go. This question, though, is for you, Lesiie Hoban Blake. The year was 1981.
Oh, my.
Released today is Steven Spielberg's classic Raiders of the Lost Ark, whose fifth installment is due in theaters in late July. But which of these is not true about the Raiders series? A, the motion picture rating PG-13 was Steven Spielberg's idea after parents found the PG-rated Temple of Doom too harsh for young children. B, before Harrison Ford, Tom Selleck was originally cast as Indy, but he turned the role down. True or false? Remember, which of these is true? One of these is not true. C, playwright Mac Wellman worked on script rewrites for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Or D, Spielberg was going to direct Rain Man, but he had to drop it because he was contracted to do The Last Crusade.
All I'm going to say to this before I ask you to repeat the answers is I have Tom Selleck porn.
Oh, want to sell it?
I found it online. It was a random photo. I was looking for something entirely different. And he's just, I don't know if it was, he's just standing there in his underwear with his thumb in the thing, pulling down as far as he can. And he looks so hunky, I can't believe it because I've never liked Tom Selleck, ever. I'll send it to you, David. I'll send it to you, I promise, when this is over. Okay.
Is this what you'd call a blue picture?
Actually, Lesiie, if you have any John Hillerman porn, love to see him just pulling one side of a bathing suit down. I think that'd be super hot. Yeah.
Never found that. Looked for it for days.
I'm sure you did. Yeah.
Lesiie, once I found the Tom Selleck, it was down a rabbit hole. There I went, just looking for everybody in that boat.
So, Lesiie, I'll read the wait, we have a missive coming in on our Facebook.
Broke her hyphen. That's all too far for RSS.
Well, for even Rabbi Salsal, yeah, he made a joke 2 hours ago. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. That was from your guest.
Oh, thank
and
you.
then Vicky said, Leslie, no, only if you can sing the song. I guess she was referencing a song.
Oh, so that I'm lost the thread on that one. But
Oh,
thank
and
you, everybody.
Stan said Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Stan. So, Joyce is reading missives from our Facebook feed over the
Somebody wants to know if I could sing a song. I don't know what that was.
yeah, I'm not sure what that
Someone
has to
said,
do with
only if
anything.
you can sing the song.
What question did she have that it was? I'm really not
Half
sure.
hour ago.
I have no idea.
No,
I don't know.
no.
Sing the song.
It's in the ether of history. But can you answer this question, Leslie?
I don't know.
Is not true. Was about Raiders of the Lost Ark films.
Oh, there was a question. I'm sorry, I forgot totally
Yeah.
that there was a question. Okay,
PG-13.
this is Raiders of the Lost Mind. Okay, go ahead. Give me the answers again, please.
The MPAA rating PG-13 was Steven
Okay.
Spielberg's idea
Go on.
after parents complained about Temple of Doom. Before Harrison Ford, Tom Selleck, that's how
Tom
he got
Selleck.
there,
That's how I
was
got to
originally
the point.
cast as
Okay.
Indy. He turned the role down. C. Playwright Mac Wellman worked on script rewrites for Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. Or D. Spielberg was going to direct Rain Man, but he had to drop it because he was contracted to do The Last Crusade.
MP13, Rain Man. I just have to make sure I've got MP13, Rain Man. Tom Selleck.
Mac Wellman.
What
Remember,
was the
and the
yeah,
last
right.
one was Rain Man and Mac Wellman.
And Mac Wellman.
Okay.
Okay. Huh. I'm going to say MP13.
Oh, I don't even have to do that. That just came up.
I know. What was that?
Sound.
Okay.
But he's, yeah.
And, well, Leslie,
Not true.
you do have that X-rated picture of Tom Selleck, but
To
you
keep me warm. Yes,
a
right.
PG-13 rated answer here. That is not correct. It was true that it was Spielberg's, basically his idea to bring in PG-13.
Gentlemen, do not say I never gave you anything. Be my guest. Go. Fight for it. Can we have a corn wrestling thing where they fight for this question, the answer to this question? Canned creamed corn. They get you get into a big pit full of creamed corn, and then whoever comes out alive gets to answer the question. It's a real thing, David. I didn't make it up.
She said corn. I thought she said porn.
Corn, me too. I know the corn wrestling. This is not corn holding.
Like porn.
It seemed to be what was on her mind. I don't know.
I was going to say, you guys, your minds, wow.
Well, the winner of the corn thing would be the huskiest guy. Get it? This little.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Can't get anything past him. Cannot. No matter how hard I try and how much popcorn there is, we just can't get by it.
Now we came up with, here we go, when I already forgot what die I rolled. There it was. It was a number 4, which David chose directly. So David Sheward,
yes.
man, you can just get 2 more points.
Okay.
In the game.
All right.
What
now I it's entirely, so the ones that are left are
before Harrison Ford, Tom Selleck was originally cast as Indiana Jones.
No, it wasn't. It was Lin-Manuel.
Joyce is saying it was actually Lin-Manuel Noriega. No.
yeah,
Playwright Mac Wellman worked on the script rewrites for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, or Spielberg was going to direct Rain Man, very popular movie, but he had to drop out because he was contracted to do The Last Crusade.
There are a couple of things that could be not true. I mean, because Mac Wellman, I just can't picture him working on a Hollywood movie because he writes things like he did a play off Broadway called 7 Blowjobs.
Can you picture Faulkner writing on a film?
Well, I suppose.
And
Rain Man, I think the script was by Barry Levinson, who also directed it, and well, maybe, and maybe I forget if this is how Levinson started his thing as being a big director as well as a screenwriter. I'll say Mac Wellman.
Is not true.
Is not true.
Your final answer?
Yes.
Well, you should treat yourself to a Big Mac. That is the incorrect answer, David Sheward. That's right. But maybe it won't surprise you that playwright Tom Stoppard did worked on the father-son dialogue for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So they
Oh.
didn't draft an actual playwright, but they got Stoppard to do
Wait,
it.
so am I right? And I get the 2 points?
You do get it. Wasn't Mac Wellman did not work on any Raiders of the Lost Ark film.
I didn't know either. I thought the way he said it, I thought you got it. I was really confused.
Well, you got the answer right. It was the incorrect one. Mac Wellman was not involved, but just
I was correct. I picked the incorrect. I picked out the lie.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Stoppard did rewrite work, but he did it on a different Indiana Jones film. He did it on Last Crusade. That was the really good one with Sean Connery.
I just have a question, and that is, how did you pick Mac Wellman as your fake playwright?
I was looking for famous playwrights of the '90s, and I should have gone with John Guare. Maybe that would have been a better one. But I wanted someone who had a facility with dialogue. So I thought, maybe.
The author of 7 Blowjobs?
Well, he had other things besides that one. Maybe I should have. I should have picked somebody else. What can I tell you?
I just sent you guys the Tom
thank you.
Selleck thing I was talking about.
Oh,
Okay.
that's not porn.
No, it's an underwear ad.
Sent it how?
I didn't send it to you, just Steve, but the Dave Lefkowitz can forward it to you if you want. I sent it to both of them.
I don't think you should.
Am I right, Joyce?
He's a bear.
Yeah, he's
Am
a
I
hairy
right,
fella.
Joyce? Yes, right.
No, a bear that's not a bear.
What is it then?
A bear is a guy who's a little chunkier than Tom Selleck.
Oh,
But he's
okay.
so hairy.
Yeah, well,
Just-
Harry,
yeah.
Harry would be somebody like Tom Selleck plus another 20 or 30 pounds.
Oh wow.
What do you call a chunky playwright? David Lindsay, a bear.
Uh,
I going there. All right.
Wow.
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 Steve, I noticed you have all sorts of desk implements behind you. I forgot to ask, do you have a pen or pencil and a piece of scrap paper?
Yeah.
Great. Everybody get your pens and paper ready for the final tiebreaker question, although there's not even remotely.
Speaking of playwrights, I had a lovely conversation with David Ives on the corner the other day.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just ran into him?
Yeah, literally.
How's
We're
he
sitting having. He's doing fine. He's working on a bunch of stuff, but he's not working with Stephen Sondheim anymore, which I wasn't
asked
aware
you
of
about that? You didn't, because they were going to work on a Buñuel related
Yeah,
musical, like Exterminator.
a double header. Yes, I know.
I
I
mean,
know.
but you didn't ask what happened or why or
how do I erase this? Because I'm a teacher, I shouldn't have this stuff.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I
Leslie,
don't.
no,
Go up to the right hand side. It says delete messages.
Wait a minute.
Did she put?
I'm so sorry, David. I didn't mean to get you into trouble.
How do I
It's that
delete-
pesky Tom Selleck. That's who did it. I didn't do
Wait a
it.
minute. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so the right hand. Where does it say delete message?
Up in the right hand corner, there should be a thing that says just hit that, and it should come up with delete messages.
On an Android or an iOS?
Are you on a computer or a phone?
On my phone.
Phone.
I don't have an iPhone. You guys will have to help him. I have a
Or if it's an Android.
Do you have
I have an
a
Android.
phone or a? Hold on, he's doing it. Hold on.
Select message. Delete. Okay, fine.
Okay. So Leslie,
Oh, so
don't.
sorry.
If you have anything to send, just send it to my email and I'll forward it. To.
I
It's
never
probably
even gave
not-
it a second thought.
I'm probably being overly cautious, but just not.
And well, you
so-
should these
you-
days. You know that nobody knows what's going on anymore.
I'll be right back. Let me get a piece of paper and a pen.
Oh, Dave's getting a piece. While he does that, let me thank, first of all, before our final question, our fun question, which, by the way, I'll explain to Stephen. All of you answer this final question at the same time, but you do it by writing down the answer. And then when I do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, you hold up the piece of paper in front of the camera. So this way, everybody gets to answer the same question at the same exact moment. So I want to thank, first of all, Leslie Hoban Blake for making it to the end. And I know you don't want to talk about things specifically here, but you're well. Mazel tov. This is wonderful.
Amazingly, this all started. So I mean, it's less than 2 months. I can't believe that they've handled everything. It's
Wonderful.
amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now,
Thank you.
with that news in mind, are you doing anything with Charlie in terms of Critics Circle or?
I don't know. We still have that Robert Viagas thing. It's my fault. I never got the photos for it. So that's still, and we haven't done anything since. Things have come up for both of us. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure what lies ahead, quite honestly.
Okay. Well, I want
But
to
all of our shows are up there on YouTube anyway, so.
at the Critics Circle channel, Critics Circle,
Right.
and also the older shows you can certainly find at Two on the Aisle with
Right.
Leslie Hoban Blake and Charlie Gross. Now, David Sheward, you before we get to this question, I'm just telling everybody what have you written this week? Is it about all the opening Broadway shows? Any other
Yeah,
stuff?
I did a roundup of what new productions are coming up, like Bruce Springsteen's show, and Felicia Rashad is doing Skeleton Crew, and there's a new musical called Washington Square. I'm sorry, not Washington Square, Paradise Square,
Oh yeah.
which I'm pretty sure I saw off in a very. It sounds very familiar. I'm not sure, but I
Well,
think
actually, yes. Our friend of the neighborhood, Larry Kerwin, did
Yes,
play
yes,
with
yes,
us
yes.
a decade ago, and
Oh,
this
Black
was
47, yes. Larry Kerwin, right.
now wasn't it off Broadway as
Yeah.
sort of some.
Was it at the Cell? Is it the one about Stephen Foster?
It was like a fringe festival and
Yeah,
thing.
but it was at the Cell on 23rd Street. Was it not about Stephen Foster?
I think it was involved somehow, or that they used Stephen Foster songs. and-
Right, and Stephen Foster was a character in it
I
as
think
well. Yeah.
So anyway, it's called Paradise Square, and it's going to be produced by Garth Drabinsky, which is quite a
Ex-con.
interesting.
Garth Drabinsky.
Right.
And I'm continuing with my blog, which I would like to remind everyone has been around for 10 years longer than Donald Trump's.
Oh, it's called The David Desk. Yeah.
Yes.
10
it's
years
like
and how many days,
10
David?
years, and it's like Trump. This is too hard. Not enough people are looking at it.
Right.
Now, Steve,
Nobody ever showed him the little microphone up at the top, right? Where you could just talk at it.
Steve Herbst, how can people get your CD? How can people find out about you? Remind us. I know you're on Facebook, but you remind us the website.
My website is stevethewhistler.com.
SteveTheWhistler.com, and to find out, again, you're not competing anymore, but still you're posting, and you can buy. What is the name of the CD again?
Broadway and Beyond has 15 Broadway show tunes, including medleys from West Side Story and Les Miserables. And
Oh, that's exciting.
I put Danny Boy. I put Danny Boy on there because of popular demand. When Mayor Bloomberg had a St. Patrick's Day celebration at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, I was invited to perform Irish tunes in front of about 1,500 or 1,700 of his closest, dearest friends there. And Mayor Koch was on the stage, and Governor Pataki was on the stage. And that day I was interviewed. Irish radio networks and the Irish publication did an interview. That was quite a day. So that's why I have Danny Boy on there.
Wow.
And I should mention, it's not. I perform it as a dirge, which is how it's intended, as opposed to the up-tempo version that most people are familiar with.
Well, wait. Actually, can we ask, after we get through this question, you can maybe take us out of this segment with a little bit of whistling? Can you non-competitive?
Sure.
That would be lovely.
It will be a
Wait,
cappella.
Steve, was Larry Adler a whistler or harmonicist?
Harmonica.
I'm just, my mind,
The harmonica.
it's a harmonica, he didn't whistle, okay. Is that Joyce trying to get in on this?
Whistling, yeah. There it is.
It's mechanical. It's AI.
So
Artificial.
let's do this final question of our Today Yesterday quiz for this June 12th as we come up on the noon hour here in the neighborhood. The year was 1991.
Isn't it always sunny in the neighborhood?
It's always sunny in 1991 on June 12th. It's a bad day for Nikolai Ryzhkov, but a good one for this capitalist who defeats him to become the first ever president of the Russian Federation.
'91.
91.
Okay.
Bad day for Nikolai Ryzhkov, but a good one for this capitalist who defeats him to become the first ever president of the Russian Federation. Right, write down Boris and Natasha if you don't know.
Don't give her answers then.
Is this the one we're supposed to write down the answer and
Right,
And,
just write down the answer,
It's
and
almost like Final Jeopardy.
I'll give a countdown 3, 2, 1, and when I say 1, you hold up the answer in front of the lens of the computer or phone or whatever.
I don't have to hold it up. I'm wrong, but I'll hold it up anyway. My shame will be public.
Okay, mine is public for 3 hours every Saturday morning. Here we go.
David, it should be in Russian.
Who is it? Is it, this capitalist defeated Nikolai Ryzhkov to become the first ever president of the Russian Federation? The answer is 3, 2, 1. Hold them up, ladies and gentlemen.
Mine is not a capitalist. I just realized.
I see. Well,
Oh, you're right. You're right, David.
Khrushchev, I
I'm
see
sure you're right.
And yes, David Sheward, even though it's not worth any points, it is Boris Yeltsin who became the
I
first.
forgot the part about capitalist.
Well,
Yeah.
forget that.
I
What
wrote
about
the-
my other choice?
Fearless
leader.
I think it was.
And what did you write, Steve?
Khrushchev,
Khrushchev. Yeah.
which
Oh,
is
you and
stupid
me
when I think
both.
about it, because he was communistic, not capitalist.
Exactly what I realized after
No.
we held it up.
You know what's
Thank you.
funny? When I was a little kid, I thought that this character from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, I thought
Was
his
it
name
real?
was, I was like 7 or 8, and we would watch Rocky and Bullwinkle, and I thought he was Phyllis Leader.
Oh,
You thought what?
Phyllis Leader. Well, Phyllis
thought he
Leader
was
was
Phyllis
Phyllis
Leader.
Leader.
I love it.
Oh.
Yeah, she would
Love
be
it.
Phyllis Leader. Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we had so much fun playing the Today Yesterday
David,
quiz.
I had to miss a part of it. Who won?
Take a
Duh,
Could it be David?
duh.
Could it be David the
With
Not only
scoring
wiped-
point plus
Not
the
only
tiebreaker.
wiped the floor, but got the extra point as well.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Please, yes, right.
This is a big day for David, but congratulations, David, on winning the game.
Thank you.
Congratulations on having your blog. And by the way, you also write for theaterlife.com,
Is it a blog
culturalweekly.com.
or a blog? I didn't hear.
Well, actually, the David Desk is a blog.
It's not
You're
a
not
blog.
yeah. Beat
Big
the old-fashioned blog.
And by the way, Cultural Weekly is now Cultural Daily.
Oh, you
You
did
do it
change
every day?
Yeah, it's changed to I don't write every single day, but
Oh.
there's new material every day.
Have you covered In the Heights yet?
I am looking. I'm going to try to. I haven't seen
Have
it
you
yet.
watched it?
I intend to this weekend, either in the theaters or on television.
You know,
Okay,
in
I
the-
won't
in
spoil.
the-
There's one thing that's in it. I won't spoil it for you, but I'm
Did you ask
so surprised by one thing. Go ahead.
In the small world department, one of the jobs that I had as a psychotherapist, I was working with Lin-Manuel Miranda's mother.
Oh.
Ah!
Dude, everybody forgets he has a mother because all he ever shows is his father.
Yeah, well,
Well, you're not.
Is
You're
that
not.
why?
Her
Is that why
last-
she
her
was in
last
therapy?
her last name is Miranda, and so I said, "Oh, you any relation to Lin-Manuel?" And she said, "Yeah, that's my son."
Oh wow.
No, his last name is Noriega.
Yeah,
Are
she
you
found
allowed
her
to say
son.
who your? Are you allowed to say who your clients were?
She wasn't a
Oh,
client.
she wasn't a client. She was staff.
Oh, excuse me. I thought you said she was one of your. Okay.
I
Yeah,
said
they-
I worked with her, not treated her.
Well, I worked with treated to me sound the same. You know, it's
So,
okay.
a psychotherapist becomes a whistler?
Well, it's we were
The other way
whistling
around, right?
first, and long before he was a psychotherapist.
I would think so. Yeah.
Actually, psychotherapy is, a career that I started in 2008.
Oh.
I had
So-
retired. I had retired from a 34-year career as senior vice president of a $900 million ad agency,
Oh.
and then I decided I was too young to be retired,
Uh-huh.
and I decided to become a psychotherapist. But I don't think we have time
Wow.
for that story.
That's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, that means you're going to have to come back and tell us the rest and play the Today Yesterday game
Don't
again
forget,
with us.
David, you said you would whistle out. You would
Oh, that's
whistle
what,
the
yeah.
outro.
So for our outro
Whistle.
Today Yesterday segment,
Can I just ask, did Darren Stevens ever work for you?
No,
Ah,
I got it. I got it.
Which one? Which
or
one?
which? Dang it, which?
And I did meet Mary Tyler Moore once, which was a great thrill.
Wait. You whistled for Mary Tyler Moore? No.
I don't remember if I whistled for her or not, but I did meet her, and it was a pleasure to meet her because I had enjoyed her all those years on television.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Steve can come back and do some group therapy for the whole.
That's what we really need. Forget the game.
Yeah.
Just need, we only need to be on the couch for 20 minutes each.
Well, the game is my psychotherapy every weekend, just so you know. I mean,
I'll tell you what keeps my mind sane during the pandemic is I've been performing every week on a open mic cabaret show called Spotlight on You, which you can see on YouTube and Facebook.
I'll find it.
It alternates. This coming week will be Tuesday nights. This week it was Friday night.
And they're
So
all virtual, or are they
it's
you go?
it's
Yeah.
it's virtual
Is it
from
called
people all over the world.
Live?
Oh wow.
Wow.
It's hosted by Natasha Castillo, and I've been performing every week. It's keeps my you know keeps my lips in shape.
There's other ways to do that, but whistling is one of them. Steve Herbst, take us out of our today, yesterday quiz, please, on this Saturday, June 12th.
Okay, I'm going to whistle for you what I wind up whistling on that TV show that's going to air sometime this summer, which Leslie doesn't know anything about because she came in late. But
Well, we don't know anything because you can't say anything about it, so nobody knows
You
anything.
sound like my father, Stephen. That's exactly the kind of thing my father would say to me. Leslie doesn't get any because she didn't get here on time. Sorry, Stephen. Go ahead, please.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Love that song. We lived in St. Louis, so that was a big song in our household.
Well, I didn't want to take up extra time, but when I performed that, at an open mic, I have virtual backgrounds that I bring up, and I have the St. Louis Arch with the the Mississippi River, and that's what I do when I have time to you know do
Really
that
put
sort
it
of thing.
together, yeah. Then, well, that sounded great. I know it was really fun,
It's
and
nice primal therapy.
yeah, that's
Not only that, but I love the way you scat around the music in your whistling, which is great. That's really terrific.
And if you know
I had
this
no
show,
idea what you meant by, what you do. Now I understand. You do it all. You play all the instruments, basically. That's
Uh,
lovely.
I get compared to flutes, trombones, trumpets,
absolutely.
oboes. When I was 7 years old, I would be in my bedroom mimicking every instrument in Tchaikovsky's Peter and the Wolf. And if you
Oh.
recall,
Well, who didn't?
different characters were represented by different instruments. Like Sonia the duck was an oboe, and Sasha the bird was a piccolo or a flute, and the cat was clarinet, and like that. So I was mimicking all those instruments, and that's how I developed the 3-octave range.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Joyce wants to know: do you ever scat like Shuby Taylor, like where you really scat? But
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was at a whistling concert, and there was another whistler there, and we were doing, like a duel, all improv against each other,
Mm.
and that was actually it was an a cappella contest, not a whistling contest, but I'm friends with the producer, so she said, during the intermission, I'd like, or during while the judges are deliberating who won the singing contest, and she had me and another whistler get up and do this thing.
Oh.
wow.
It was like on Drag Race where lip sync for your life. It was like a final battle.
yeah, it was it was like like rapping but whistling.
Oh,
But they
great.
weren't lip syncing, they were actually performing, which is
Oh yeah,
amazing.
absolutely. He and I were actually performing,
Whistler
and we hope to do that again. One of these days. One of the greatest thrills that I had in recent years was a debut at Town Hall.
Mm.
Scott Siegel has these Broadway by the
Yes,
Year
we know
shows.
Scott. We all know Scott very well.
Well, Scott, um, brought me on to do, a tune from the 1940s. So
I'm assuming it was a show tune. It might have been
it,
Rodgers and
yeah, it
Hammerstein or
was a
Hart.
show tune, and I came out and did my thing, and what was particularly gratifying about it is that he introduced me, and he was talking about, he's a champion, international grand champion, Hall of Fame whistler, blah blah blah, and you hear the audience tittering, laughing, and then when they heard the whistling, um, I started hearing, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
and gasping, and I got a like an ovation at the end and a curtain call, because because people don't know what whistling is until they actually
Yeah.
hear, they don't expect me to do the things that I do. Like last night on Spotlight on You, I did This Nearly Was Mine from South Pacific.
Wow.
you
Oh,
know you know, Carly Simon got to see a rough cut of the film that I told you about, Pucker Up,
right. Yeah.
because the people who produced the film, David Heilbrenner and Kate Davis, who were award-winning documentary filmmakers, took the rough cut up to Martha's Vineyard, and they invited Carly Simon to come over and see the rough cut. And when she saw my whistling Danny Boy, I was told that Carly Simon was in tears.
Wow.
Wow. Well, there you go. And she knows from mockingbirds and things that whistle.
Many people
Yeah.
are in tears during your show.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you so much. My wife, ladies and gentlemen. So let me remind people one more time. Also, Joyce has mentioned that we put on our Facebook page. She put a link to SteveTheWhistlerHerbst.com and
It's SteveTheWhistler.com, not my
no,
last
sorry,
name.
SteveTheWhistler.com. But Steve the Whistler Herbst, thank you very, very much for being with us in the neighborhood today, as
It was
well as
fun.
David Sheward and Lesiie Hoban Blake. Thank you so much. We have more of Dave's Gone By for you. I've got to let each of you go individually, but it's so great to see you
You
all.
should whistle him out.
Oh, he did. He did. So we're good.
You.
Oh,
I can't. Bye bye. See you next week.
Until next week.
Till next week.
Have a good week.